So, we are completing our series on lessons on the turtle, and I have a spiritual practice to share with you. If you'll recall, last week we talked about the energy or the gift of friends, and it was all about energy. And so, one of the reasons why I really enjoy sharing spiritual practices with you from you, how you are using your spiritual practice, is so that you can be inspired by your friends. Here is how your friends have heard an idea in service and taking it into demonstration in their lives, because sometimes it can be difficult to put those two things together. So here is a beautiful spiritual practice email that I received from Connie Eschman. Connie says this: "Hi, Joanne. I have to tell you about how the Sunday talk about Just Start That Climb started me. I've been planning a conversion of a wall sliding door closets into a walk-in by building a wall in the master bedroom. The planning and dreaming on my part has been for about 10 years. Ed and I decided that if we must stay home, it's a good time to finally do this ourselves. Now, this may not seem like a big deal to most people. For us, it has been that mountain. We started in April, living with everything from 13 feet of closet into the living room and clothes even hanging in the garage. We are finally to the painting. Yay, painting! With all of our physical challenges, it has been quite the adventure. Ed finished priming the new wall on Friday, and I needed to start priming the old closets and bedroom walls. Not happening. I hit a wall, metaphorically speaking, and just wanted to throw in the towel and leave it as is, an unfinished mess. I just had a meltdown. Then the turtle in the mountain crossed my mind, and I jumped into the task at hand again on Saturday, one step at a time. Painting the walls and ceiling in here will take a few weeks, but that's okay. We will keep our eyes on the task for today or tomorrow and be thankful we can do this at all. Thanks again, Joanne and the turtle, for letting me know one step may be all accomplished at a time, but eventually we will get up the mountain." So thank you, Connie Eschman. What a beautiful example of how you realized and remembered in that moment of meltdown that all you needed to do was take one simple step at a time. We had our own remodel project that we began way back in January, and we had a lot of similar experiences to Connie, and it's always interesting to do something like this with a partner, especially or maybe in spite of the fact that you've been married to that partner for 36 years. So Gary and I, in our bathroom remodel project, had a lot of opportunities to practice these ideas as we butted up against each other in our planning and in our execution of that. But in the end, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about working together. We learned a lot about finally completing the project, which happened this week, 6 months later. And we, like Connie, found out that all you need to do is continue to take that one step at a time up the mountain. So whatever your project is that you're working on, I hope you can take some insight from that. And just remember today, I just have to take one step. I'll get up that mountain eventually. So this is our last Sunday on the lesson of the turtle, written by Steve Goodyear. And we've had an entire 8 weeks now. This is our 8th week of studying this story. Back in June, I started a class on finding yourself in transition. And in this class, in the very first class, one of the questions that we asked ourselves was, has there ever been a single moment in our lives where change has not occurred? Now, the initial answer is that, you know what, I've gone through times in my life where things have been steady and there hasn't been a whole lot of change happening. So, no, I don't think change has been occurring all the time. But when we really step back and think about it, there isn't any moment in time where change is not occurring. Some of those changes we welcome. You know, that change from winter into spring after that long winter season, we welcome that change. Sometimes, like that change for some of us from fall into winter, isn't such a welcome change, and we tend to resist those. A change like a drop in humidity and a cool breeze is a welcome change. A change like a snowstorm or a hailstorm, not such a welcome change. every single moment, though, there's a change. While we don't often stop and think about it, who I am in this moment is different than who I was in the moment before. I remember at one point hearing an author that I loved, Michael Rhodes, who writes about nature and lives in Australia. And he had written in one of his books about living next to this creek. And as he spoke about it, he said he recognized one day how that creek was never the same. That in every moment that water that was rushing by was new. And it changed the way he came to that creek, because every time then that he came to the creek, he came with the awareness that this creek is different than it ever was before. And so his eyes could see in that moment with wonder, that holy wonder that we've talked about through this series. So if change is always happening, if change is always occurring, then we get to invite ourselves into an awareness of how we go through change. Now, with this series, it appears that all of these tools that you've been given each week are linearly happening, like it's a linear process. Oh yeah, there's a change, and then I remember I have a choice, and then I remember, oh yeah, I need to honor myself, and then I need to remember that, I've got friends to help me, and it appears to be that there's this linear process that we're going through. I don't know about you, but I don't find it to be so linear. Like, I can go through my day and I might start my day feeling pretty grounded, but then something comes along, knocks me off center, and I'm off center trying to figure out what tool to use, resisting whatever change is happening in that moment. That can happen to me as it did this week with the world events that are occurring, as I get caught up once more in the news and my feelings about that, and suddenly I'm totally knocked off center in my irritation. I've heard from many of you over these past 4 months that you've recognized and realized how your irritation level has been increasing because you've been knocked off center, as we all have. Sometimes that being knocked off center can be as simple as somebody in our lives saying a word to us, because our beloveds in our life know how to push our buttons just as we know how to push theirs. And so a button can be pushed, and in that instant, we're knocked off center, even though our day has been going smoothly. So in any moment of any day, we can find ourselves like that turtle, knocked off center and laying on our back. But we are called to live our lives right side up in every moment of every day, because we are equipped with everything that we need to do so. You and I are expressions of the divine. You and I have that divine power and presence within us that allows us to meet each and every moment in grace. And that grace is part of what allows us to turn ourselves right side up again. So moments are going to arrive today, tomorrow, this week, that are going to knock us off center. The question is, do I remember in those moments the tools that I know to turn myself right side up, so that I can again begin living from that right side up perspective? So what you may not realize is that as we've been going through these weeks, we've been creating an acronym around change. So the first one, the C, is that we remember that we have a choice. Now, sometimes when you're knocked off center, you can forget that there is a choice even there, because we are so filled with emotion in those moments. But if we can catch it, if we can take a breath, if we can realize, as I did this week, man, I've been knocked off center by the news again, and pause and step back, then we will always remember that we have the power to change our minds. That power is called the power of will, if you'll recall. So we can choose in any moment. There's the C in the change. We can choose in any moment how we are going to bring ourselves into that moment. We can continue to react unconsciously without conscious choice, or we can catch ourselves in that moment, take that breath, and make another choice. Choose is the first part of that acronym, and of course, the first gift of the accident. So what are you choosing? What are you choosing in any moment? Are you choosing to remember the truth that within all that is occurring around us, that very life that is God is moving through every cell and atom of our body temple right here, right now, that our perfect health and wholeness is our divine birthright, that we are a child of God, and as such we do not inherit sickness, so that when those fears and worries and doubts arise in our mind, knock us off center, we can recenter again in the choice to remember those truths in spite of any appearance to the contrary, and that in making that choice we can then respond to this moment in a different way. So the first lesson, the first gift, the first C is for all of us to remember in any moment that we have the power to choose, just as Connie did as she was having that meltdown. Oh, wait, I can choose again to take that one step up the mountain. Change. The second letter is our H. And you'll recall from the lessons of the turtle that our H was about honoring who we are. We so often get caught up in the idea that we are separate from one another, separate from life itself, separate from the divine. And in that, we operate then, react to the moment on our back from that place of separation. But the truth of the matter is that our divine nature, my divine nature, your divine nature, is there within each and every one of us, waiting to be revealed as we honor that divine spirit that is within us. That divine spirit has never gone away. In any moment, in any given time, we may forget that, but I am here to remind you, Unity Spiritual Center is here to remind you, we are here to remind each other that the truth of you and I is that each of us is a unique expression of the divine, here to shine that light of divinity in every moment of our day. And so when we find ourselves knocked off center, reacting to the moment, upset, anxious, irritated, again, if we can simply pause and take that breath, for me it is so often about the breath because it centers me. If we can take that breath, we can come back to the remembering, I am divine. I honor that nature. And I allow that Spirit of God to move through me in this moment, to strengthen me, to uplift me, to descend with peace upon me. These are the ways in which we honor ourselves as we move through whatever the change is that is occurring in any moment. And that's the H for change. As we go to the A, you'll recall the gift of affirmation. So in Unity, we remember the truth and we affirm the truth together. Affirmations don't make it true because we're speaking them. We're speaking them because they are the absolute truth. And in any moment as we find ourselves upside down, that may not be our experience, but we are reminding ourselves in consciousness that this is the truth of this moment. Affirmations like, I am one with God. I am one with that all possibility. I am one with that wisdom that's guiding me. I am one with that life that moves me. I am one with the intelligence that thinks my mind. I am one with the intelligence that beats my heart. We choose to deny the power that error holds over us, thoughts of separation and lack and limitation and othering and all of those things. And instead, in that moment when we are caught upside down on our back, off center, we choose to bring ourselves back with our words through that affirmation. Affirmations of truth. Affirmations that are true, not that will be true, but that are true right here, right now. And we speak them so that they are once again seated in our consciousness so that we live into them in this moment, any moment in which we are experiencing that change. N is the next letter of the word change. N reminds us to be here now. Now, in this moment, in whatever is occurring, in whatever that change is, can we just be in it? Remember the goo of the butterfly. Several of us have spoken about that goo over the last few weeks because as we find ourselves knocked upside down on our back like that turtle, we are there in the midst of that goo. We're there with our anxiety, we're there with our fear, we're there with our worry, we're there with our sadness, we're there with our anger, we're there with whatever it is here in the goo. And if we try to push it down to say, I need to be more spiritual and not feel these things, we won't receive the gift that that moment brings as we rest in that goo and ask ourselves, so what's here for me to learn in this? What am I here to pull forth from within me as I'm feeling that tension? What is it that I'm being called to bring forth as I sit in this now and allow this now experience to transform me at depth? Because listen, friends, it's not just about filling over that goo with positive feelings. I just have to be happy. I just have to put on my happy face. No. We don't want to just put on our happy face. We want to transform at depth in this moment. And we can only do so as we allow ourselves to rest in whatever that goo is and to find the gift of this now moment. Whether this now moment is, an irritation, or whether this now moment is a beautiful blessing. I was sharing with someone this week that my granddaughter Zoe comes over and we play, and one of her favorite games to play with me is a game called Tickle Spider that somehow started about a year ago. And Tickle Spider are my hands. And, she's got a voice for these hands that I'm supposed to be speaking, and it is literally her favorite thing to play. So when she comes to our house, the first thing she wants to say is, "Where's Tickle Spider? I want to play." Tickle Spider's a fun game, but honestly, after about 5 minutes or maybe less of Tickle Spider, I'm ready to move on to something else because my mind is bored with that activity. But at 4 years old, there's wonder in it. There's joy in it. There's excitement in it. And so I was having this conversation with Gary actually about how I want to move myself out of that now moment because I'm bored with these Tickle Spider games. And then I need to pause and take a breath and realize that here is a gift that I have to receive. If I don't try to get out of this now moment because I'm bored with Tickle Spider, but instead allow my mind to open to the joy and the wonder that is being experienced and expressed right here, right now, with this now experience that I'm having with my granddaughter, then the moment loses its boredom. It loses my resistance. It loses my need to shift out of it. So that's been my practice this week as Zoe has come over and wanted to play Tickle Spider. I've taken a breath and reminded myself, Joanne, can you just be here playing Tickle Spider with her? In this now moment, can you see the gift of that? Because I guarantee you there will come a day where Zoe won't be playing Tickle Spider anymore. And then that moment will be gone forever. So this moment, too, will be gone for each of us forever. Can we rest in this now and whatever this now has for us and simply allow it to be the gift that it is? Because in every now moment, God is also there. So that's the N for change. Let's see, we go to the G for change, and now I'm sitting here trying to remember what was that G? What was that G? So excuse me because I can't remember right now, although as soon as I see it, I'll go, oh yeah, that's it. So G was for, oh yes, goals. That's right. No wonder it went out of my mind because I shared with you that week that I typically don't set goals. I tend to go with intentions for living into my life in certain ways. So I intend to live into my life allowing that divine spirit to express through me. Some people do, however, set those goals. Whatever you do to move your life into a certain direction, it is important to set that direction. If you don't know where you're going, you're probably going to end up somewhere else. So what direction are you wanting to be moving in? It can be fairly open like mine is. I set the direction that I intend to be that light of God expressing in every moment. I set the intention that I will keep my heart open in love, that will be my movement. I set the intention that whatever I do is done to create a world that works for all. So they're pretty big and open goals. You might choose more concrete goals in any moment. So when you're finding yourself upside down and on your back and all of those emotions and all of those feelings are going, the goal is there, the intention is there to remind you in this moment, whatever is happening, am I responding in such a way that I am moving forward to my intention? So when my intention is to keep my heart open in love, and I find myself on my back irritated by something that someone has said, I have to ask myself in the moment, am I experiencing and expressing in this moment in a way that one step at a time is taking me forward into that intention to keep my heart open in love? And if I'm not, guess what? I get to go back to the sea again and change my mind all over again here in this now moment. So G was goals or intentions in my awareness, and as Connie says, to take one step at a time toward that intention. And then finally, our E in change, energy. Where are we putting our energy? And of course, that was the gift of friends, the gift of community, the gift of supporting one another, encouraging one another, inspiring one another to know the truth for one another. We can do this together. None of us is in this alone. I have beautiful friends. You have beautiful friends who remind us of our intentions and our goals and our choices, and living into these truths that remind us of the beauty of each moment and the gift of each moment, and remind us to live into these ideas. And we all want to surround ourselves with people who are that for us. And of course, Unity Spiritual Center can be your community that does that for you, that helps you to uplift your energy in consciousness so that you and I are living from this place of divine possibility. We are 4 months in to this COVID experience. We've got, I don't know how many more months to go of this COVID experience. And every moment, every day seems to provide with it yet more change, and yet more that's staying the same that we want to get out of. If we can take these ideas, these tools that have been expressed in the lessons of the turtle, using whatever tool comes to mind in any moment that we need to use to right ourselves once more in this moment, to be living right side up, we too, like the turtle, can come out the other side with each other, with friends, with community, and we can find ourselves at the top of that mountain vista. But of course, as I started this talk with, change is always occurring. And so even when we get to that point in time, it's not like we will be there forever. More change is coming. And so as you and I can learn how to live into those changes, and to do so with love, to do so with grace, to do so in peace of mind, to do so inspired by God, we will create the kingdom of heaven in our lives and the kingdom of heaven on earth, in spite of whatever might be occurring around us. This is what I want us to take from these lessons of the turtle. From the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come. Listen, it didn't say will come, maybe someday, maybe if you get this right. No, the verse says, your light has come, and the glory of God has risen upon you. Like each new day, we have the opportunity in this moment to begin again, to make another choice, to honor ourselves, to catch the affirmation of this moment, and to live with whatever this now moment brings us, one step at a time, towards that intention that we are wanting to experience, as together we live these teachings. So here's our practice for this week. I hope you'll send me your emails to let me know how you're practicing it. This week, I want you to contemplate, how have you been empowered to live right side up over these past 8 weeks? When you hear those error thoughts like, why is this happening to me? I can't do it. I don't know how. I'm stuck. I don't know which way to turn, etc., etc. Consider, what is one idea that we learned through this series that I can take and live into in this moment? Is it to remember I have a choice? Is it to remember to find the gift of this now? Is it to remember to do my denials and affirmations? Is it to remember to take that step toward my goals? Is it to remember that I have a friend that I can reach out to hold me accountable? What is it? You've got seven new tools. Take one and live it in that moment. Because these ideas work when we work them. That's an old Eric Butterworth thing. These ideas work when we work them. This is one of the reasons I love unity. You don't have to accept it on faith. You don't have to accept it because I've told you. You can accept it as you take and work these ideas and see what a difference they make in your life. I know that as I made that choice again to release the anxiety around the news and remember the truth, I found my calm. I know as I was going through that bathroom remodel project and we were butting up against each other in any given moment, as I took a breath and remembered the truth, we can find our way together. I found my right side up again. And you can find your right side up too, in any moment, if you work these ideas. So let me know how you're working those ideas. Send me your emails this week. Thank you for joining me for this series, and I trust it was inspiring to you. I've heard lots of people talking to me about the lessons of the turtle.